All right, welcome everybody. We're live. This is my second live stream for today. I did another one on Landon Bailey's YouTube channel this morning, my time, so I linked that on my feed. You can go check that out if you want to watch that one as well. All right, we've got Tampa Blues here. Welcome, mate. He says he's going to watch this when he gets home. Awesome stuff. DMS Productions, welcome. You spelled your name wrong, mate. All right, we got the Josh BTV says, morning, folks. Actually getting to catch the live stream for the first time in forever. That's awesome. I'm going to move it over so I can see the comments easy so I don't break my neck, as per always. John, welcome, mate. I hope you're surviving those 40-hour shifts. It's got to be illegal on so many levels. We got William. Good morning from Boston. Awesome stuff. Welcome, mate. Welcome, William. We've got, I'm not sure how to say your name, mate, but Castillo from the Philippines. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. Let us know if you ever use the subtitles too, because I subtitle some videos in like 20 languages. So I'd be interested to see if anyone actually uses those. Yeah, just let us know if you ever do enable the subtitles. We've got the Pork Chop Express. We've got Alfonso, welcome, mate, from Chile, or Chile, as they say. The correct way, I think. We've got Riff, welcome, mate. We've got Andy from Tassie. Hope you keep him warm down there, mate. All right, so before we get going, I've got something to announce. Better believe it. All right, so we've just gone live today. Will be a mix of questions and whatever you choose to, however you want to direct the live stream is kind of what we do here. So I never really start these with like a spiel about anything. We just sort of kick them off. So I'll keep an eye on the chat here. If you add in the blues me, I'll no doubt see your question a whole lot easier too, because it gets kind of busy in here after about the first 10-15 minutes. So welcome everybody. Now this is a different time to the last time I did a live stream, I'm pretty sure, which was the other end of the day. So different people, different parts of the world will be awake right now. I know I'll be awake. I actually have some cordial back here. It's not Gatorade. So, yeah. Oh, geez, that's going to fall. That's not good. Let's just move that. That's a microphone. Pepsi Max time. Absolutely, John. Chopper, I wish I was sponsored by Pepsi Max. That would be the greatest, most fitting sponsorship of all time. But sadly, no. It'd probably change my life financially if that was ever the case. We've got Angry Goat, says, from Melbourne. Welcome, mate. Hope you're enjoying some freedoms. Again, some. Notice I didn't say all. All right. What's the difference with the Katana EQ between the bass, middle, treble? What's the difference? Sorry. What's the difference with the Katana EQ compared with the bass, middle, treble? Which takes precedent. So are you talking about the internal EQ system? Because that's like a master EQ. You can kind of hook it up to the computer and then within the software adjust like how much treble you want to be rolled off or added and bass and all that kind of stuff as well. So the top controls are basically like any EQ on any amp. As you add more, you get more. They don't necessarily completely like react with each other in the same way, say, like a parametric EQ might. It sort of just adds more or less. So start with everything at 12 o'clock and you should be in business. We've got Fat Philosopher here. Welcome, mate. Today I bought a Japanese Orville Gibson Les Paul and then sold it to an American 2 hours later. Mate, that was a quick flip. What happened? What happened with that? Hey, we got VS Audio here. It says, greetings from sunny and very hot Greece. Well, I'm jealous, mate. The weather here sucks. So, yeah, I can't wait to see Greece at some point. So, yeah, I'll hopefully get to meet you guys at some point very soon. Cass, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. With all those Pepsis, I'm expecting to see you take over on those diabetes commercials. So I don't have sugar. Whether you can argue that that's not as good, but I'm quite healthy. So yeah, I think the sugar-free experience is the way to go. We've got Richard. Says, good morning from Detroit. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. I haven't been to Detroit in a long, long time. I think the last time I was there, it's probably 2004. 2003, maybe, somewhere around there. John says he got to visit his mum for the first time in 3 weeks today. Great news, man. Very cool. Thrash Metal Studios here. Welcome, man. How you doing? Good morning. Wait, good evening. I'm working, but you're in my ear now. Yeah. So it's, what time is it here? 10:35 p.m. I'm caffeinated and I'm ready to rock and roll. I was actually lurking on your channel the other day, mate. It was a good live stream you had. What guitars do you know that have the baseball bat necks? I like them the best. Well, anything. So there's a few that they're generally more expensive, which is the downside, except for if you buy the Fender American original 50s Telecaster. That actually has a really great baseball bat neck. It's that deep U or whatever it's called. Now, Fender also make a selection of 57 style Strats with really big necks. The Mary Kay one and the one that I reviewed, which was a custom shop one that looks exactly like mine, also had a huge neck. So they're two that really come to mind. There's a few from, did you say, all right, so in terms of Gibson, you got to go 50s as well. There's a couple of different shapes you'll find in the 50s range, but they're generally the safest bet. Any sort of 50s guitar will inherently have a fat neck, but then you want the U neck. So look for U neck profiles on the Fender website, or look for the fattest Gibson profile neck, and you should be in business. We've got Kentucky Redneck. Welcome, mate. We've got Change Strangers. Says, evening. Welcome, mate. Chat just moved. Bear with me here. Weird, the video didn't start for me. Had to refresh the page. Yeah, I've noticed that on my browser too. I use Chrome. And when I'm waiting for a live stream to go up or a premiere, it just errors out, and then I have to refresh the page. I think it's something to do with YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised. We've got Christian Rose says, Mornington Peninsula, watching. Bloody cold tonight, dude. It is. You know, I had my hoodie on. I took a thumbnail photo. I was like, I should take it off, put the heater on. So that's what I've done. Until it warms up in here, I'm going to be sitting like this for a bit. Croatia is hot. Beaten the Scots yesterday. Everything is cool. That's from Marco. Very cool, mate. I didn't know Croatia actually got hot. I know that's probably pretty ignorant on my behalf, but I always assumed Croatia was kind of cold. I'm not sure why I thought that. We've got Fat Philosopher says, I bought it for a steal. It was a righty. Okay, cool. There you go. Yeah, those kind of guitars, man. People know what they're buying when they buy one. And yeah, it's good stuff. Sue Fong says, oh man, afternoon. I've just cast up as about to go to work again. Live cast, sorry. There's a character missing there. Well, anyway, mate, if you listen on your phone or whatever in your headphones, that's super cool. Late start. This is Texas Bootlegger. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Daniel says, nice to catch a live stream again. Any music stores here in Melbourne that have hidden gems that you'd recommend? Yeah, so one of the shops I think is really... if you're looking for straight up retail, Sky Music's got everything, right? And they don't pay me to say that. They've just got hundreds and hundreds of guitars. It's crazy. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, maybe a used instrument or something like that, head down to the Music Swap Shop and Found Sound. They're both right next to each other or right around the corner from each other. Both of those are just out of the city. They've always got stuff you don't expect to find, like old used Japanese guitars, just stuff you won't find anywhere else. And Found Sound actually has some new gear as well. But yeah, they're the two that come to mind if you're looking for like something you don't expect to find by a mile. They're great. There's also another one in South Melbourne, which its name has slipped my mind. The Melbourne... I'm sure John will know what it is. It slipped my mind. I did a Guitar Search Saturday there. It's awesome. But they carry usually like higher end vintage guitars. So that might not be a thing. I'm not too sure. But another really, one of my favorite shops is KC Music or the KC Rock Shop in Baronia. That's where I got my last Telecaster from, the 50s original one. And they're great guys, and they've usually got a lot of good stuff, good amps, and stuff. Sometimes stuff you don't expect to find as well. So, yeah, they're kind of like my main ones that I would recommend. There's so many good music shops in Melbourne, though. So, We've got Cowhide from Los Angeles. Welcome, mate. Oh, chat just moved again. Sorry. I'll just scroll back up. Hey, Shane, artist TweedTone or Deluxe Reverb Tone Master for clean tones? Deluxe Reverb, it does do a great clean. The thing with the artist TweedTone, it actually stays pretty clean longer than you would expect. So it's sort of, that could kind of go either way, right? Like you can kind of, they're about the same in terms of clean headroom. So if you can play them both, if you can't, I have a hard time not recommending the TweedTone based on its price. I think it's still one of the best amps I've ever played. But so is the Deluxe Reverb Tone Master. They're pretty great as well. He did say Deluxe Reverb. So yeah, I would say both are great. Both are going to give you similar results before the emulation of the breakup kicks in on the Tone Master and before the valves actually start to saturate on the TweedTone. But the TweedTone, for its price, is probably a better deal. I'm not saying it's a better amp. It's as good but different. Just 500 versus however much a Deluxe Reverb is, right? So yeah, they're pretty hard to beat. They're just voiced very differently. I would look at it like this. If you can't live without a Fender tone, then go for the Fender amp. If you are open to whatever, then go for the TweedTone. Vs Audio says, hey mate, happy you dig the new Blackbird. That's to the pork chop. Man, that pedal really surprised me. I've been a hardcore fanboy of the Royal Flush for so long. I didn't know what to expect, and I don't like to watch other people's videos before I actually make a video on my own, because that can sort of taint your perspective, or you might try to play a different way, but I really dug it. So yeah, pork chop, hope you're digging it, man. Let me just scroll back up here. I think I missed a couple things here. How cold is it where you're at? It's 62 degrees here in Minnesota. You know what? I don't actually know how cold it is here in Melbourne, but I'm tipping it is probably 10. Yeah, close. It feels like 10.4 where I am, and that's in Celsius. So it's like, what's that? Like 43 Fahrenheit, maybe? Something like that. I could be right off with that, by the way. All right, if I've missed your question, sorry guys. I'll get back up there. Have you built a guitar kit, and what do you think about it? I have no problems with people building kits at all. I just know for myself, it's like the sandwich someone else makes you is better than the one you make yourself. And that's so true when it comes to, I think, instruments. Like, I know when I've tried to make stuff, because I'm not... a kit is different, right? You're not actually cutting the wood and doing all that kind of stuff. You're just putting parts together. So that might be a different experience, but I much prefer kind of just getting something that's great. And when you're invested into it like that, for me, that tends to be a bit more motivating, I guess. But I think some of the kit builds are great, and you can kind of experiment around. And I think the great thing about like a Partsocaster is you can do that and get something that might not exist anywhere. May cost you more, it may cost you less to do it, but what I'm not a big fan of is buying a lot of like custom parts from places when the end result costs you far more. And generally speaking, those guitars have a terrible resale value. If you put one together for yourself, whatever the reason is for that, there seems to be some sort of like stigma attached to Partsocasters where stuff just doesn't get I don't know what it is. Like, you're building it for a specific purpose, and any custom guitar, I think, doesn't always resonate with everybody. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Is that a Vice City poster? It is. Yeah, there it is. I love that game, man. I love the music. I've kind of themed the room a little bit 80s now. It's got like the light color scheme, and I say 80s. I haven't really done much, but I've got some 80s horror movies, and obviously I got Cobra down here, the Stallone movie, Night of the Demons, Mark Knopfler from the 80s. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm a big fan of old horror movies too. I got Creature from the Black Lagoon over here, White Zombie, the movie, not the poster. I got Rob Zombie there, big fan of him. And White Zombie all the way Over here, another white zombie poster. But I actually really like those posters. It's something cool about them. I know about locking nuts. Should I unlock the nut when I'm not using the bar, or is the guitar is not in use? I must have missed part of that question. I don't know if there's another part, but I'm not too sure. Gear Junkie says, greetings from Wisconsin. Have dug your channel for a few years. Any suggestions for an amp and cabinet switcher? Like, I want to be able to mix heads and cabinets. Appreciate you, Killer Licks. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, Andy Martin from Andy Martin Demos did a really great video about a switcher that can do all of that kind of stuff. You can send a signal. It's like a box where you can just basically click through and it will switch amp paths to speaker boxes. If that's what you're talking about, check that out. Now, I've never actually used one, so I don't like recommending stuff I haven't used unless I've heard it or, you know, picked it up myself, and I've not had any experience with those. So check out Andy Martin on YouTube. I'm pretty sure he's done a few, or at least one pretty solid video about like that exact device. But yeah, I haven't used them before. And thanks for the kind words too. Found Sound has some amazing stuff. That's from Simon. Yeah, absolutely. It's super cool. Hey, we've got Liam Nicholson here. Welcome, man. He says, hey, mate, have you tried a Duesenberg? I have. They're one of my favorite guitars. Super expensive, but beautiful. About 5 years ago, maybe not quite that long ago. No, I can't remember. Maybe 4 years ago, I tried a Duesenberg TV Jones Star Player, and it was awesome. Such a great guitar. I was this close to buying it, but I didn't want to fly with it back home, so I didn't buy it. In hindsight, I should have. They're unique, you know, like that tremolo system is the best in the world. I don't care if you put it up against, well, at least the best in the world that I've tried. I have compared it with a number of different guitars. It kills all the Gretsch guitars in terms of its tuning reliability and feel. Yeah, great sounding pickups. I actually recorded a guy on an album for a local guy who you probably know. Actually, I won't say his name, but yeah, he plays with Daryl Braithwaite and a few other guys, and he had a Duesenberg, and it was the first time I'd heard one. After playing one a few years later, I was like, oh, the TV Star Player is really good. And I think it had a humbucker in the neck pickup and a P90 in the bridge, or vice versa, maybe. And yeah, great engineering, great feel. In Australia, though, pretty overpriced. So, well, overpriced is subjective, I know, but I think they're a little expensive. Fat Philosopher says, I noticed your music is not on Spotify. Did you move to a different service? I'm in the process of doing that. DistroKid were great about a year ago, and prior to that I've been using them for like 5 years until recently. So I pulled all my music off there, and I'm looking to move it to somewhere that's a little bit more reliable, that doesn't shaft you. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I've been a huge fan of that service for so long, and I recommended it to a lot of people, but yeah, I'm looking at putting it all on somewhere else at some point. If you want to get a copy of it, mate, just shoot me an email and I'll send you some tunes. All right. Epiphone SG and Worn Cherry Les Paul were the highlight of the lockdown. Do you agree that Epiphone nailed it in 2020? Absolutely. You know, I've made a number of Epiphone videos recently. The top 6 Epiphones that I've heard and played. And I've made a big Keys to the Guitar Shop video that not enough people saw recently, which I put a lot of work into. The Epiphone guitars are the best they've been, you know, absolutely. I think I've owned 5 Epiphone guitars. SG, 2 ES335s, a Les Paul, a Sheraton. What else? That's probably it. So that's about 5. And the new ones are they're awesome. And they weren't bad, right? They weren't bad guitars. I just feel like the finish is better than they've ever been. The playability is great. And they're making very safe guitars in terms of specs and pickups and finish, and everything just looks good. What's better, in my opinion, the Boss Katana or Peavey Bandit, the new version? That's from Castillo. Sorry, man. I'm going to try and pronounce your first name, and I know I'm going to butcher it. If it was me buying for myself, I'd buy a Peavey Bandit. I'm not saying like that's what everyone should do. If you already have a pedal board, buy the Peavey Bandit. If you don't, the Boss Katana is a good option. It really is. And for, you'll get all the effects that you want. It's just that they sound very different in a room. And this is the biggest difference. If you're playing at home, the Katana makes way more sense, right? Like you can turn it right down and get great low level audio out of it. Like you can turn it right down and get home practice amp volumes is what I'm trying to say. Or you can really just like let it rip and it's loud as. Or you can use it as a sound card to your computer. But the downside of that is you got to learn all the software. You've got to learn how to do all of that kind of stuff. Peavey Bandit just sounds good. I would encourage you to go find an older one. Buy one second hand and save yourself 50 or 60%. Or more. Like I pick them up for usually $220 Australian. So I think they're about 700 new here. So yeah, you can save yourself a fortune. Bobbly Brook, welcome man. He says, I put together a Partsocaster for around 1,500 AUD. Custom shop quality, but it's true the resale value sucks. It's great value if you build it yourself, not a good idea if you want to sell it. Yeah, totally, man. A mate of mine's built like 10 Partsocasters, and he'll never be able to sell them for anything close to what he put into them. They're beautiful, but people want a legit Fender, or they want a legit Telecaster, or they want a legit Strat. They don't want someone else's dream. It's weird. I don't get it. I don't know if all industries are like that or not. If you put together your own, I don't think so, right? Like you can put together your own computer and people will buy it off you. But yeah, it's a strange old thing. I don't know what the deal is with that. EVH, SRV, Clapton, their most famous guitars were Partsocasters. Absolutely, you're right. They're also extremely iconic guitars too. I think Shane has his favorite guitars video on his channel. I do. Yep. I got another one coming up. I actually sold a lot recently, and I'm not going to give that away right now, but I've been sort of clearing out stuff. I'm not a collector. I don't collect guitars. I don't hang them on the walls. I play them. I try to play them at least anyway. I suck, but I try my best. Occasionally they're left out on the stands, but yeah, I realized like I had way too much stuff, and once something just sits there for a while, it goes. That's been my mentality now for quite a while, and I got lazy with it. But it felt great to move things on and free up a bit of space. And these great guitars have gone to one guy actually. He wanted a couple of them, and I'm glad because he'll get great use out of them, and they're beautiful. So yeah, just once they sort of start to sit around, I'm not a big fan of just hoarding stuff. But yeah, let me know if you like that or whether you can't sell anything. I know there's a lot of people, even in my friends circle, that have a hard time parting with stuff they haven't used for 5 years. Neil. So yeah, it's it's pretty funny. Thrash Metal Studio says, dude, Cobra Rules, Big Trouble in Little China is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I have a list of movies that are like I can't choose from, and Big Trouble in Little China is one of those movies. I love it. What about heavy metal cartoon movie? You know what? I don't know that at all. So I'll have to check that out. But yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, I think that's what inspired me to go to San Francisco, all those years ago. I know a lot of it's shot in LA, but yeah, I've been right where a lot of those famous scenes are in Chinatown there. It's just a great movie, man. Full of great lines and stuff you just don't like. The more you watch it, the more you sort of love about that movie. I love it. There's this line where Ed Chen, one of the main guys, is up really high, and one of the guys goes, "How'd you get up there?" You know, he's like, "Wasn't easy." I don't know. It's something about that movie I love. I should get a big trouble. Actually, you know what? I had a Big Trouble in Little China poster maybe a year or so ago, but it sucked. The quality of the print wasn't very good, so I got rid of it. But yeah, definitely one of my favorites. We must be a similar age, I think. So let me just scroll back up here. Hey, Jamal, welcome, man. He says, watching while working. Everyone, please hit the thumbs up. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Matt Oliver says the red stripe Peavey Bandit is awesome. It is. It's my favorite by far. It actually feels a bit better to play than some of the newer ones. The newer ones are still fine. Like, they're loud. They're just, I don't know. They're a little on the harsher sounding side, possibly. It Me Psycho says, any tips on how to start writing music, especially on guitar? So there's no right or wrong way of doing this, but what I've found is I'm either writing lyrics, so I'll have an idea that I want to formulate and I'll put something down, or I come up with a great riff and I try to find something that fits it. So, yeah, there's no real easy way of doing that, but binge listen to something in the style you want to write. Like, if you want to write, like, a beautiful sort of ballady sort of stuff, listen to some modern Van Morrison, or there's a million different artists, right? I'm just giving you some ideas. If you want to write an Americana sort of style album, go listen to JJ Cale or whoever, right? So you've got to kind of want to have a direction in where you want to take something. If you want to write heavy riffs, find that kind of music as well. So yeah, you've got to start somewhere, and don't be too harsh on yourself, because I really feel like there's this crippling fear of it not being any good, and we've all dealt with it. Like, some of my first songs I thought were some of the worst songs I ever wrote, and they're still some of the songs I play the most. So it almost doesn't. You just got to start somewhere and trust that over time things are going to improve, and don't be in a rush to record it either. They're my tips. Hey, thanks, man. We got Bill. He says, enjoying the stream, off to work. Hey, thank you, Bill. Far out, man. Thanks, mate. I appreciate all your support. That's awesome. Thank you, mate. It all, as always, goes back into the channel, so thank you. Thrash Metal Studio says, I'm 39. Well, I'm older than you, man. I'm in my 40s. It's crazy times. Thank you again, Bill. Far out, mate. You're super generous. Thank you. Love the Kurt Russell back in the day. Oh man, Kurt Russell, that's from Sonia. Yeah, man, you know how much I've watched that movie? I can nearly recite the whole intro just from memory. It's crazy. I really love that movie. It's kind of timeless to me. That, you know, another favorite of mine, which most people won't know if you don't like horror and comedy movies, is Fright Night. That movie to me is like, I love that. And The Burbs. Tom Hanks, man, that movie is so good. You love the heavy metal movie? I'll have to check it out. I've never actually heard of it, which is which is cool. I look forward to checking it out. John says, I keep saying I want to sell some of my guitars, but I still haven't done it. I'm laughing also at my friend Stop No Names is here. He's the guy that has trouble parting with a guitar he's had for 5 years and not played. He's had, for 12 years and not played in 5. Heart of Oak says, just missed the beginning of the live stream. Question for you. There seems to be an increasing interest in the Fender Morada. What do you think of this model? You know, I always say that sounds like a car, and then I look it up and I forget what it looks like. So, yeah, it looks all right. I can't share this with everybody, unfortunately, because I'm not on what's it called, StreamYard or whatever. But you know, it looks all right. This is a used one, so I don't know if that's the current model. But man, I tell you what, if you can play some stuff before you. Oh, sorry, are you talking about? Oh no, that's the Maverick one. There was one I showcased on a Guitar Search Saturday, which was pretty cool, but I don't know if that's the same model or not. But But yeah, if you like the tones of it and what it can do for you musically, and if it feels good to play, if you have a chance to pick it up, go for it. But I always can sort of suggest to people, don't get too worried about what other people think of the guitars you like, because at the end of the day, you got to be happy with the guitars you buy. And something different like that is cool. There's a million people playing Strats and Telecasters. Get something. Oh, excuse me, it's Pepsi Max. Get something different, and you're, it may give you some distinction, which is cool. Definitely a classic Kurt movie. That's from Mark. Yeah, totally. Don says Big Trouble in Little China is one of his favorite movies. That's awesome. I'm sorry, I'm just getting back up the chat here. I finally got a King of Tone after a 4-year wait. I hope it was worth the wait, mate. They're great pedals, but man, I wouldn't wait 4 years for an FX pedal. So you're a patient man. I couldn't do that. That's just too long. All right. X says, I assume you're a fan of The Thing. So I am, of the remake, the Kurt Russell one, of course. But, it's funny because so many of Kurt Russell's movies tanked, and then they became like iconic. Big Trouble in Little China is one of them, and The Thing is another one that absolutely tanked because it was a remake. And I think at the time, the director of both of those movies was doing great, but he also had a couple of huge flops. And then years later, they've become cult classics in their own way. So it's crazy. Red Rover, let Ray go over. Yeah, I watched that a couple of, what was it, maybe 2 weeks ago. I love that movie, man. It's such a. I'll tell you what, for all the guys in the chat here, that neighbor is a total babe. I'm sure if you've seen it, you know who I'm talking about. Thrash Metal Studio says, I've also thinned my guitars out. I have my favorites, but still fell out of love of some. Yeah, it happens, man. I had some beautiful guitars, and they just weren't getting used. I had a 335 that was awesome, and it's gone to a good home, and it was getting used, which was a good thing. But when you're not using something that's sitting around, it's like, I could put this into something else. And yeah, it's good just sort of clearing them out. And look, it can go either way too. I think if you've got a lot of space, I know there's some collectors, like the Tone King is a great example. He's got 100 guitars, but he's also got the space for 100 guitars. I think most of us don't. Plus, if we're not collectors, why are we buying 10 guitars at a time? Or not at a time, but at once in terms of in a collection. So, yeah, I don't know. Redcon says, I'm playing synth a lot more than guitar now. Heck, I even put a guitar into the Axe effects. That's cool. I bought a synth a while back, and I used it on some of the background music that you hear on the channel. But, yeah, it was too much of a learning curve, and I was getting a really sore neck, messing with it. And I found it was just I think it was a little unpredictable, which is what I don't like in an instrument. It's there's too many parameters, and if one thing's not precisely where it was before, it sounds completely different. Now, some creative folk will love that, but yeah, it was a little much for me. But I loved running it through delay pedals and reverb pedals and stuff. It sounded so good. It reminded me of the ambient music in the library scene of the Ghostbusters. It had that real sort of ghostly kind of sound. It was awesome. Alan says, did I sell my drum kit? I did. Yeah, I only bought it for the lockdown. That was pretty much it. I had some fun with it, and then I realized this takes up a lot of space. So I put it on eBay and sold it pretty quickly. And there was another reason too. I also found out that GarageBand is one of the best tools for drums. So it was why am I spending time bringing the kit in, miking it up, getting the sound, messing with it and trying to get it to sound good and all that kind of stuff. And it was just so much easier to get rid of it. Fat Philosopher says, I've sold 6 guitars so far this year, but bought 6 as well. So it cancels itself out. Alexander says, not really waiting with bated breath for the King of Tone. You just put your name on the list and one day your number comes up. Very cool. I was only being silly, man. I know some guys that say, oh, is it worth waiting 3 years for one of them? And I always say get a Royal Flush because they're available. But they are different pedals. But yeah, super cool. Like I actually had a chance to demo one. I don't even remember how long ago it was now, but it was cool. It was cool. Some of those old videos I wish I could almost redo now, with better playing and better audio quality and all that kind of stuff. I might have to see if I can get my hands on some of that old stuff again. What movie has the babe in it? The Burbs. Opinion on the artist Les Paul or LP59 versus the new Epiphone Standard 50s. Surprisingly, there's not a huge difference in them. The biggest difference is the visual. Tone-wise, they're probably on par with each other, except the artist actually has the push-pull pots, which I would never use a lot of the time for my sort of stuff. But it's a pretty solid guitar, and you'll probably save a few bucks, maybe like $300 or something like that. But if you want the vintage vibe, there's no comparison, then go for the Epiphone. They're both really solid guitars. It's can you justify the difference and how important is the gold top and all that kind of stuff? You kind of got to work that out. In terms of the feel of the neck, they're the same. They both got that 50s profile neck. Just one's more of a modern guitar, and the Epiphone clearly has the old school thing going on. Sorry, John. If you have any other questions, Aqua Moon, just let us know, man. I just need some more info if you want to ask me any more questions about that. John says, love your channel. I'm looking to buy a Squier Affinity Strat. What's your opinion of the ceramic pickups? They're fine. They're absolutely fine. I say that with experience and for the fact that I actually played one of those live a couple of weeks back, or at the shop, but it was a live session, and they sounded killer. They handled all the gain I threw at them. They handled loud volume fine, and I had no problems playing that. I actually mentioned it on whatever Keys to the Guitar Shop video it was, as well as on another video I spoke about it as well, because it's a great guitar. My girlfriend actually bought a guitar recently. There's a video coming up about that, and I'll give some of it away. It's a Squier. And it sounds so good, and it's built well, it plays well. Look, there's going to be some compromise on, the neck's slightly got that unfinished vibe and all that kind of stuff compared to like a higher end Fender, but not everyone likes the high gloss necks either, right? So I would have no problems playing one of them at a gig if it's set up fine, and the ones I've tested have been great. If you haven't seen my Keys to the Guitar Shop series, go check it out. I've timestamped all the guitars. Like it might ski. It's got like a 25 to 30 minute video, but it's all timestamped, and you can find the part with the Squier, hearing it back to back after my Fender guitar, and it sounds great. So yeah, again, I have no problems recommending those at all. Okay. Chat just moved. Sorry, I'm getting there. Kevin says, I wish I had another room in my house. Yeah, I know the feeling, mate. Okay, cool. Thanks for the info on the synth there, X. I appreciate that. Hey, Bruce, thank you, mate. He says, just a little something for the channel. I really like the Keys to the Guitar Shop the other day where you guys rocked out. You should do that more. Thank you, mate. Yeah, so every other week or once a month we go there to film, and then twice a month those videos go up. I'm actually starting to... Is it going up tonight? I can't remember. So let me just double check. I might be live while there's another video up. No, it was yesterday, sorry. So I had a video go up where I'm releasing individual videos talking about the gear that doesn't fit a theme. So every time we film, It's usually like our Epiphones. Next time will be Reverend guitars, which is something that I've had a lot of requests for. So we'll be doing that. We can't go there every week and do it. It's just not practical for the poor guy who has to stay at the shop while we're there till midnight. But yeah, this is a series that's going to go as long as we can do it because it's really great. We've actually got someone switching all the cameras for us now instead of me having to edit it, which is going to save so much time. So that will speed up the process. It's a 20-hour job to get those videos done. It's literally 20 hours. So by the time I leave the house to set all the gear up and camera equipment, all the audio equipment, I record everything with the guys. We do all the playing. That's like 4 hours. Pack up and head home. That's like an hour and a half by the time I get back from the cleanup process. I spend probably 3 hours on the audio because I do all the audio mixing myself, and then I have to do all the edits, and it's just a huge job. So just having this huge chunk of time back will be awesome. So yeah, there'll be more of those videos going up. I really enjoyed it. And Bruce, thanks again, mate. I appreciate it. Maybach guitars. Maybach guitars are awesome. Really nice. You know, I haven't actually, that's one guitar I haven't played being a lefty, but I've seen a number of them over the years in the Melbourne Guitar Show, in shops here locally, Cranberry Music, and also in Germany we're at MJ Guitars, which is in Munich. It's great brand of guitars. Very well made. A little too on the clone side though. I wonder who their audience is, because they're pretty much straight up Fender and Gibson clones, and there's a lot of those kind of brands out there. But you know, quality wise, there's nothing wrong with them. What's my current go-to set of strings for my guitars? I actually found the box just before when I was cleaning up. Not sponsored. I use these Diodarios. There's a reason why. I can get 10 sets of this cheaper than I can get anything else. The other brand I really like is Ernie Ball, the Power Slinky set, which I really like for some guitars, but generally 10 to 46 is what I'm living on now. I used to play 11s. I find 10s pretty much give me most of what I need, so yeah. Classic vibes, very nice. Yeah, Boris, absolutely. You know, I played the 70s classic vibe a little while back, and I'm seriously considering getting one of them at some point. The Strat with the humbucker in the bridge. The reason why, is you can't buy a left-handed Fender Strat with a humbucker in the bridge. They just don't sell them. I guess I could buy a pick guard from another brand and put a pickup in there myself, but there's something really cool about those classic vibe 70s. One of my favorite guitars of the year, once I finally had a chance to play it. Gear Junkie 35 says, only one guitar this year. Gibson SG. Okay, very cool. Is that supposed to be Gibson? I guess it is. Custom clone, traded for a Vox saturator. Man, I haven't seen one of those saturator pedals in like 7 years. Actually, yeah, not in person anyway, but very cool. Yeah, you got to kind of watch those Gibsons, man. I bought one when they were sort of new. You know, like they'd find a few people had bought good ones, a few people had bought duds, and I bought an absolute dud. I've said this story before, but the quick version is, after waiting so long for this guitar, it finally shows up, and it's wrapped in bubble wrap about this thick, the case, right? Like it was just wrapped in bubble wrap. And on the outside of that, they taped it with this yellow tape. So there was no easy way to get into this thing. And I was so impatient. It was an ES335 copy. So I unwrap it, finally cut through all the crap and take the guitar out. As soon as I opened the case, which was a piece of junk, the thing stunk. Like it hadn't cured properly. Like, it stunk the house out. It was that bad. Open it up. It's like, oh, this has got to go outside. Like, it was horrible. So it had that going for it. And I picked it up and I went, oh, this is nice and light. So I thought, it's not the best build quality, but it might be okay. So I plugged it in. I clicked onto the bridge pickup. I hit probably an A chord or an E or something. I went, and it stopped, and it never worked after that. So I got one chord out of it. I took it to the local music shop who had one of the best techs at the time in there. And I said, oh, Phil, are you able to fix this? He goes, I'm not touching that. It's a piece of crap. He goes, either give it away or throw it on the fire. That was the first time I heard that, or put it in the fireplace or whatever. And he goes, right. I ended up giving it away. It was just like, I couldn't sell it, right? At that time, it was just, you weren't allowed to post chipsons on eBay and all that kind of stuff. So it didn't work. I think I just flipped it and got rid of it. It was the worst mistake I ever made by mine. So I know that they've gotten better over the years. And this is going back before the whole YouTube thing too. I think it was probably 2005 I did that, somewhere around there. So yeah, wasn't a good move. Thrash Metal says, I traded my neighbor an old toolbox for a drum kit. That's a pretty good deal. It's all now decked out and it's been getting a lot better. I've been getting a lot better on the kit. I love it. It's so good. Like, playing drums is the almost exact opposite of playing guitar. You know, you got all your gross motor skills versus, you know, your fine motor skills going on. So yeah, drums is fun. There's something kind of liberating about it. But again, it's one of those things where you've got to have the space and the ability to be able to play them, to enjoy them. And that was the other reason why I felt a little bad having a drum kit at the house, just on behalf of my neighbors. I'm on a good block here, but the sides are kind of small. So yeah, it definitely gets loud quick. But great, man. Yeah, awesome stuff. Alexis says, built myself a guitar cabinet with space for 5 guitars 2 years ago. It's full now and there's spillage over, mostly Partsocasters, so I can't sell. Very, very cool, mate. Best pedal this year, LPD 87. Seriously, Lawrence is really good at his craft. You know, I don't know anything about that one at all. So, yeah, very cool. What would be my favorite pedal of the year this year? Yeah, I've got one that I haven't done a video for, but I've used it a lot in videos recently. And it's this Time Delay from Crazy Tube Circuits. I actually reviewed the prior version, which is up there. It's that sideways pedal, and my biggest complaint, I said to the guys, man, you make this a vertical pedal and it will be infinitely better because it'll fit a pedal board. Like, I don't know why companies make that shaped pedal that goes sideways like this. So they did, and it kicks ass. It's really good. There's a couple that kind of come to mind, but that would be one of the most sort of obscure pedals that I really love, the Crazy Tube Circuits Time Delay. But if you can't get this one yet, wait for it, because it's this vertical one's much better in terms of ergonomics on your pedal board. Please take a look at the Maybach guitars. You won't regret. You know, I've had a chance to pick them up, and I've covered them in Guitar Search Saturday videos before, but again, I'm left-handed, so I don't get a chance to play. Well, I don't play right-handed guitars. Mike is a great dude and I'm one of his oldest friends. Very cool. Bubbly Brooks says, there are good ceramics and bad ceramic pickups. The ones on the Squier are good. And the chat moves, so hopefully I said that correctly. Let me go up. Hey, we got Dave Mays here. Welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. We've been chatting on Instagram. Dave Mays is one of, you know, so I know I influence a lot of people inadvertently or advertently to, you know, try different guitar products and all that kind of stuff. And I've got Dave Mays to blame for a lot of my camera gear acquisition syndrome. So if you're into camera equipment, go check him out. He's got a great channel, great guy. And yeah, just, it's funny. Every time I get this a lot on my channel. People go, anytime I'm looking for a pedal, like whatever it is, your videos always come up, and lately Dave's videos are the ones that have been coming up for me whenever I'm looking for something. So yeah, great stuff. So yeah, folks, go check him out. Thanks, man. Thanks for dropping in. Mark says, if you ever want a roadie at Sky Music, just ping me. Cool, man. Yeah, those those videos take so long to put together. I'm glad we've got, like, I've got a switcher on the desk here. You can probably just see it here. I'm going to be basically setting up 4 cameras that way and just cutting one big track at the end. It means I can't edit it like I could, individual camera files, but it's going to save so much time, and it'll be good enough. It'll still be it'll still look pretty good. Alex says, really love the Keys to the Guitar Shop series. Really appreciate how much time goes into them. Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Bullet says, the Eminent Swamp Thing and Texas Heat in my Mustang 5 4x12 in the blues. Thanks for the advice. Hey, no worries, man. I'm glad you're digging it. Those 2 speakers are the perfect match for those amps. So, yeah, enjoy. My 2 favorite speakers for Fender amplifiers by a mile. For most Fender amps, anyway. Yeah, thank you. Let me just scroll down here. Hey, Heart of Oak, thanks for the super chat, mate. He says, thanks for your comment on the Morada. Meant to say the original 65 version. Oh, okay, 4 pickups hidden under the pickguard. Thinking of trying to build one. Only 8 made. That'd be a fun project to do, mate. If you're thinking about buying a 1965 guitar, I'm tipping it's going to be like at the highest end of the price range, especially if there's only 8 of them made. So that would be cool. That's one guitar that I don't know anything about, and you've just encouraged me to go learn about it. So add in the blues me on the next one, and I'll do my research. But I don't have anything against project guitars. It's just the resale value on them can't always keep up with actual branded guitars for whatever reason. So yeah, very cool, mate, and thanks for the support too. I appreciate it. Thank you. I always take everybody's comments here, or questions, so I'll scroll back up here, and I'll get back to those. Simon, thank you for the super chat. Says, thanks for all the great videos, Shane. They help entertain me a lot. You're also an inspiring player for me. Greetings from Germany. Hey, thank you, Simon. Cheers, mate. I appreciate that. I think anytime... I think music as a whole is always sort of, you always feel like you're not good enough, like as a guitar player, but I appreciate those words. Thank you, mate. I do appreciate it. I try my best. I don't release a video unless I'm happy with it. I don't release if I'm not happy with a jam section or session part at the start of a video about a pedal or an amp, I don't release the video. I recut it until I'm happy with it. So sometimes that's 2 takes, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 5. It just depends. So I always try my best, and I think doing this forces me to play at the best that I can, at least in terms of trying to cut a track and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if it helps and you're enjoying it, mate, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Cheers. I'll just scroll back up here so I don't miss anyone's comments here. If you're going to get a new guitar, get one now because the prices are going to go up with this scarcity of woods. I don't know if that's... Maybe that's somewhat accurate with certain... a while back they did the no rosewood thing, whatever that was called. I've forgotten what it's called already. But after a couple of years, it stopped. So it might just mean that there's regrowth taking place or something. It'd be a little uncool if a lot of companies that build guitars aren't putting, especially at when they're building thousands of them a month, if they're not doing anything to put some back in, that would be a bit odd. So that'd be an interesting sort of thing to look into. Yeah, I don't know much about that. I don't see there being a huge problem in the near future with it, but who knows? Interesting thing with guitars, right? Why are there so many new guitars coming out when they last so long? If a 1950s guitar is one of the most sought after things now, it means they last that long. It's 70 years old, right? So yeah, it's kind of strange that the production is so huge still. Must be the lockdown thing. Who knows? Dave May's laughing. It's true, man. Nearly everything I've gone to look for, there's videos of you. I got you to blame for my Olympus and the 10 to 25 that I'm considering. Ingo from Germany, welcome, mate. All right, I think I'm caught up with the chat here. Just add in the blues me if I did miss anything. Once the chat moves 3 pages, I'm a little bit behind. Ian says, thanks for the live stream. If you owned a Katana, what pedals would you buy to add to what it already has? So the first thing that I would do is, this is just me, I've owned a Katana and I much preferred using it with my pedal board for a number of different reasons. If you set up an overdrive preset built into the amp, you can't add more treble or whatever to the circuit. It's just kind of stuck. So just run it as a clean pedal platform, and then just get like something that warms your mids up and takes out a little of the ice pick. So any Maxon overdrive pedal like an OD 808 or an TS9 from Ibanez, the same pedal basically. Any of those kind of things will give you a really great sound. You just want something that you can adjust the treble control that gives you a little bit more mids for the sound that I like, at least anyway, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. When it comes to the built-in delays and all that kind of stuff, it's actually really good. I just find its biggest limitation is if you say choose a blues driver or whatever and you've got it going into one of the buttons on the foot switch, you can't adjust it like you can a tangible pedal. This is the biggest Achilles heel of all of those amps. So, you are better off, unless you're just sitting at home, it doesn't matter as much. But if you go play live and something's not right and you can't adjust it, it's like, and I still haven't managed to fix that. You can adjust certain parameters with the controls, but not all of them. So that's my advice on that. Any videos on the channel about pedals for psychedelic blues? Yeah, interesting you say that. I got a little shorts video coming up on early next month, and it's got that exact sound. You'll look for the video that's entitled The Hendrix Tone. It's coming up. Shane, when setting up your overdrive, do you set it to a particular pickup on your guitar or just find an overall response or tone? Generally speaking, I know exactly where I need to have my amp set, give or take. It will vary depending on the room, but my pedals, I can pull the pedal board out, put it into the Marshall clean channel or the Fender amp and not have to change much. That's why I always say simple pedals are best. This is why an overdrive with 7 controls is a waste of time. You'll never memorize the settings. I also feel that sort of covers up the fact it doesn't sound good with everything straight up and down. So all of my pedals that I gig with, and I can show you both of my pedal boards, they're on the floor here, they're all very simple pedals. It's like I can roughly gauge it. Everything at 1 o'clock should sound pretty good, and if I need to adjust it from there, that's when I'll do that. Oh, guys, we got more super chats. What's going on here? Far out. Don, thank you, mate. He says, I hear you're on Landon's stream. Thank you, mate. Shane, thank you for all the live stream and all of your great videos. Also, thank you for the live stream that you did with Landon Bailey last night. There you go. That was today my time, believe it or not. It's still the same day here. So thank you, Don. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, when I wake up, I'm sort of like a little on the what's the word I'm looking for? Flat side. It takes me a while to get going in the day. So I'd been up for a while already, but I'm much better at this later in the evening. So yeah, thanks. Thank you, Don. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for the support as well. And Slash, far out, man. You were doing great in all your videos. Hey, Slash Rick, thank you, mate. Canadian $10. That's like, what's that? Probably like 45 Australian dollars. Thanks, mate. Actually, I think the Canadian dollars is about the same. So, hey, thanks everybody for being a part of the live stream, supporting the channel. I probably don't say that enough, but if it's not obvious, I appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you. Let me just scroll back up again. So, Slash Rick, thank you. And Don, again, thank you, mate. Let me just scroll up. Let me see where I was at. And thank you, Simon, as well. Far out. Sorry, guys. Just give me 1 sec. If you're near a guitar store, check out Music Man Cutlass Strat. Yeah, oh man, they're beautiful. Yeah, another guitar shop I was in Germany was called Pro Music Tools. I did a Guitar Search Saturday with Dr. Rick there. Go check that out as well if you haven't seen my series on that. That cutlass is beautiful. It is so good. And Rick was doing like a little bit of a Riviera Paradise kind of thing on it. And it was like, oh. If you like Music Man guitars, go check out that episode at Pro Music Tools. What a shop. Like, just way too cool. Aquamoon says, I'm a beginner in the open chords and strumming practice stage, and I absolutely feel I'm not good enough. It's so hard to accept it's a journey. Man, I tell you what, just keep at it. You know, I always say people improve far better by learning, trying to aspire to learn something that you enjoy listening to, right? So the journey should be work towards what it is you're trying to sound like. But then it should also be play a couple of times a week in shorter time frames than just one big chunk at the end of the week, if you can do that, right? If you play 3 times a week for 10 minutes, it's better than 1 hour a week in my opinion. It's a muscle memory coordination thing. So the video that I've got coming up this weekend, I actually talk a little bit about how to drill muscle memory into your hands, because I'm teaching Rhiannon how to play chords for the first time. She got onto it pretty quick. So just see if that helps you at all. But it is a muscle memory thing, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. And also remember, you don't have to push hard with your chord hand, which would be this hand for most of you watching, I'm sure, except for John and Jamal and a few others. So, yeah, you've only got to move the strings a millimeter, right? So there's no reason your hand should be getting sore in the muscles unless you're really working hard on lead stuff, right? So for chords, the looser your hands are and your strumming hand and wrist and all that, the better. It shouldn't be like a high pressure kind of situation. Once I learned to loosen up my hands, I play far better than when I'm like tight. It's just the way that it is, or cold hands as well. Yeah, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Oh, totally. Smiling 420 says, love the channel, Shane. Cheers from Salvation Mountain. Oh, that sounds cool. Where's that? I don't know where that is. I probably should. It sounds familiar. Where is that? Oh, is that California? Is it? Far out. Very cool. Awesome. Have you slept since you talked to Landon? No. So it was my midday when I was on there. I think it was like 11 or 12 o'clock. So it's now 11:30 p.m. here. I'm all caffeined up. I'm good to go. I don't know what that means. All right. Your recent video on the Orange amps was really interesting. A lot of reviews focus on Orange's heavy stoner rock, but I like them for clean breakup tones. Yeah, so Orange amps are inherently heavier stoner rock tones, right? But that one isn't. It's supposed to be great as a clean pedal platform, but I couldn't stand what it was giving me in the room. And in the room, it sounded far worse than what you heard on that recording. It just... you could see me at the... I don't know, you probably couldn't tell, I don't know. But at the start when I'm playing the rhythm parts without any pedals, I could hardly hear it. And we weren't that loud. There was something about that amp that had nothing in context to a mix. I went from that to the Marshall DSL 20, and it was, for what I like, infinitely better. More headroom, louder, took pedals better, gave me the big full sound, all that kind of stuff. But I've heard other videos where I think now, I don't know if there's something up with that amp or not, but it just wasn't loud. It sounded like a 5-watt amp, and it was pretty shocking, actually. So, I don't know. But those ones are supposed to be great for that off-clean kind of sound. So, I don't know. It just got squishy way too quick, which means like compressed, and, you know, the harder you push it, the less it sticks out. It's kind of strange. But, you know, everyone likes different things. I've had so many people ask me about those amps over the years that it was about time I tried a few more. I'd only tested a couple of their like little practice amps. Dan T says, have I tried the Fillmore 25 combo? I have this amp and it's great. It's awesome. Yes. So, well, no. That's the quick answer. I reviewed the Fillmore 50 and it was unreal. So that amp actually... the first time I played it, I didn't think that much of it. I was like, oh, it's all right. And then I learned how to dial it in, and I was like, this amp is great. So for those who don't know, it's a 2-channel amplifier that has 3 different stages on each side. So you get what would be a 3-channel amp on both sections of the amplifier. So they're like mirrored, basically. So you can either get 2 clean tones, one louder than another, or you can set one clean and one for blues crunch, and then or one for a high gain tone. Those amps kick ass, and you can essentially use them without any pedals, and they work great. And a good friend of mine, Dave's got one of those, and yeah, he let me borrow it, and I did a video of it, which I don't know how long ago that was now. It was before I moved here. I know that much, but oh no, it might have been right when I moved here. Yeah, I can't remember, but it was awesome. Very cool. Looking at buying, this is from Ruben. Welcome, mate. He says, hi Shane, I'm looking at buying a Squier Classic Vibe 50s, the Sherwood green one with the matching headstock. Have you tried one of those up close? So I've owned... Oh no, that was the... I think that's the Strat, right? Yeah, no, is the quick answer for that one. I've owned a 60s Strat. I've tried the 70s one. I've seen the old Classic Vibe 50s from the first run of them, and they're great. And I got to tell you, actually, yeah, we have. Rick and Brian, both of them have had a chance to play the 50s. It's like a white colored one, and they both had a lot of good things to say about it. I think Brian said that the vintage finish, he didn't like a whole lot on it, on the neck. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, the tones are great. Again, Keys to the Guitar Shop series. The one with Brian, the guy that you probably won't recognize from the channel. He got that thing cooking. And so did Rick. I mean, they're both great. But I think we had a longer play with them on the one with Brian, possibly. So, yeah, very cool. Great guitars. I can recommend them absolutely. I think there's been a revival in old rock. People want a lockdown hobby. Yeah, totally. That's what it is, man. And yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, unlike I think a lot of other hobbies, age doesn't really matter too much with it. Sure, you're going to lose dexterity in your 80s or something, but it's there's a lot of great older guitar players that can still fly around the fretboard. So yeah, it's a good hobby. I think unlike gaming or whatever, where you have to keep buying new games, you can do that with guitars too. But it's a hobby that you can kind of grow with and appreciate on different levels and learn. It's one of those things you'll never master. It's pretty cool. There are some people who out there collect and others who buy and sell. The guitar market is always moving. Oh, totally. Absolutely. How are you liking your peacock set of pickups in the PRS after a few months of use? You know what? I like them even more. Absolutely. I've kept the old pickups, but I think they're it was just a great mod. You know, it does make the guitar sound very different though. And sometimes that's not always a better thing, but everyone that's heard that guitar, they always say, man, that sounds good. What's going on? So, yeah, I'm a big fan. They're kind of like a really voicey sounding humbucker. They kill all the buzz, which is great, but they almost sound not quite as bright as the original PRS SE humbucker pickups, which some people will like. They've just got this sort of like upper mids thing going on, which when you play live, it's really voicey. So, yeah, again, I have no problems recommending those. Thrash Metal Studio says, I have a year's worth of unused footage I was never happy with. Yeah, mate, I tell you what, same. So many times, there's no joke. I'll make a video and I'm like visibly tired in it and I feel like crap, and I sit down, I finish the video off, I edit the whole thing, I watch it back to finalize it, and I delete it. I'm like, this sucks. So I try it again the next day. I probably got 15 videos sitting on my hard drive from this year that I didn't upload because they were crap. I think that's the difference. You know, like, it's good to be fussy. when it comes to what you upload. And, you know, if it doesn't meet my own standards, I don't put it out there. It's, I think most channels should, I'm not saying they have to work like that, but it's clear that a lot of channels don't. I know some channels that don't even try stuff before they film it. And it's like, man, you're not understanding like how to make the most out of it, or how to get your own sound out of it, or how to get some other sound out of it. It's just like, oh. So yeah, it's good to be fussy, man. You should seriously think about doing voiceover work. I think you'd be great at it, man. Think about how much better quality a 500 guitar is today than compared one from the 80s. Oh, I totally agree. The guitars now, they have to be fussy. This is one of the good things of the internet. If people are releasing junk, everybody knows about it pretty quickly. So, yeah, it's like the companies have to make something worth their reputation or their longevity last. It's just one of those things. Fender sold more guitars in 2020 than ever. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I know a lot of shops that were in that same situation. Hey, Greg, thank you, mate. Greg Riddle, he says, thanks for the channel from Missouri. Hey, you're welcome, mate. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Channel's been ticking over for years, and you know, I'm thankful it's lasted. I'm always I'm trying new things. I'm trying stuff that, you know, might not have been done, and I've tried other stuff that has been done a million times, and it's just fun for me to keep it rolling after all these years. It's surprising, actually. It really is. And so, yeah, thank you. Thanks again for the support, Greg. Yeah, I do appreciate it. Where's Missouri again? Let's have a look. Missouri. Oh, okay, gotcha. Kansas. Yeah, I see where it is. All right. That's one state I've never been to before. Been to a lot of them, but not there. Actually, most of the central area I haven't been to, so I guess I haven't been to many of them, but been to quite a few. Very cool. I gotta find it. I should set this up so I can share a desktop. I'm going to make an effort to do that next time. These days, lefties have a pretty good selection of guitars. I've had too big of a problem. Oh, same. You know, even like 15 years ago, there was nothing. 10 years ago, it started getting better. And depending on where you live in the world, it's easy to get a good guitar. And it's great that, you know, Fender and Gibson and all the main brands are releasing stuff. Now, then there's also specialty shops now all over the place that sell only left-handed guitars. And they'll get a special run made for them. Like Jerry from Jerry's Lefty Guitars, I've shot at his shop a number of times, and he'll contact PRS and he'll go, I'd like to get this made in a lefty, and they say, well, we have to sell 20 of them to do a run. And he's like, all right. So he's the only one with them, but there's just a great selection of guitars out there for left-handers now. In a way, it kind of helps that I don't have as many options as a right-handed player. Otherwise, I'd probably have far more guitars. I was thinking about that the other day. Walking in and only seeing two lefties for me is okay. It's when I see none at a shop, I'm like, oh. But yeah, if I lived in Florida, I'd probably have way more guitars, having access to Jerry's or all the other left-handed guitar shops in the US. So yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. I don't think much about, I'm so used to not seeing lefties in stores. I can still appreciate right-handed guitars, just I can't play them. Oh, wow. The chat just moved. Sorry, guys. I'm like nowhere near where I was before. Oh, geez, where'd it go? All right, guys. Look, I have no idea where the chat was. It just scrolled like 6 pages by the looks of it. Where was I? I'll tell you what. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. I'm going to take a quick break. I've had too much caffeine and too much cordial. Actually, not enough cordial, but too much caffeine. I'll be back in. I know everyone's probably going to leave, but I'll be like 1 minute. If anyone has any questions, add in the blues me. I'll start from the bottom of the chat when I get back, so then I'll work my way back up. So give me 2 secs. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'll be good to go for a little while longer now. All right, let me scroll down. Hopefully I didn't miss anything here. So thanks again, Greg. I appreciate that, mate. What are the best MXR overdrive distortion pedals in my opinion? Oh man. So they've got a GT-OD, which I really like. They've got they've got another like signature one that's really good, like the Zach Wild possibly. I think that's made by them. I actually really like that one as well. And that's about it from off the top of my brain. Oh, Anjay, welcome, man. Sorry if I didn't say hi before. I think I answered one of your questions, but I didn't actually I didn't actually say hello. Josh, yeah. Good luck with that. I'm left-handed but play right-handed. That's from Boris. Yeah, a lot of folks do that. I mean, that makes sense a lot of the time too, especially, well, it made more sense back in the day than it does now, but if you learn right-handed, it is what it is. Mark Knopfler is like that, so he's doing all right. I wonder how a right-handed guitarist would feel if they walked into the local guitar shop and every guitar in the store was left-handed. Well, yeah, it's a weird feeling for me too. Like when I went to Jerry's, it was all left-handed guitars, not a single right-handed guitar, and it was odd. I was like, this is weird. I could play every one of these guitars if I chose to. So yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre for lefties as well. You go to a shop like that and you're like, my brain's not computing what's going on in front of me. It's like whenever I started playing, you know, I've never had that experience until going to his store, and it was odd. It was like, what's going on? Even my local shop here has probably 40 left-handed electric guitars. And that is just so cool. Like, it's not just, oh, there's 2 or 3 in this section. It's like, oh, there's 3 Gretsch guitars. Oh, there's 5 Fender guitars. You know, like there's enough stuff now for me to sort of look at and play and see what kind of vibe I get off it. You know, so it's really cool. Sorry about the crappy intermission music there. That's all I got. Fat says, I got my Dean V from Extreme Lefty in Florida. Yeah, very cool. You know, that's one shop I haven't been to. Next time I go to the States, I'll be checking that out. Stan says, it's like being at a campfire and someone saying, hey, you play the guitar, here you go, play a tune, and you have to say, sorry, I'm a lefty. Yeah. Don't knock cheaper guitars. I wasn't knocking cheaper guitars. Nothing wrong with cheaper guitars. As a retired post-production audio editor, I must say you have great sound, which is totally necessary, and demonstrating what guitars and amplifier pedals sound like. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, mate. Oh yeah, over the years, I've kind of become better at knowing what I'm trying to... Like, if you get a good sound in the room, it makes recording far easier, and then it's like, comes down to... Especially with when I do the amp reviews, like I have a combination of 2 mics that are classics, and they're classics for a reason. They sound better together than on their own. I've done a lot of music production over the years too, so not only for myself, but for many other bands and live shows and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I keep it very simple when I record amps. It's just a couple of mics, 2-channel audio interface, that's it. So thank you for the kind words. Thoughts on the Tone King Gremlin versus Fender Princeton 68 reverb with attenuator for bedroom, mostly clean playing. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that, mate. Look, I don't know the Tone King Gremlin, but I do know the Fender Princeton 68 reverb. There's a few of them, right? So you've got to decide whether or not you want a 10-inch speaker or the 12. The 12-inch speaker version is louder, and it's kind of got a bit more... The cabinet's I think that either the cabinet's slightly bigger because of that 12-inch speaker, or something slightly deeper possibly on the cabinet. Like it's a little like thicker. And I think that sort of encourages it to be a little bit of a fatter tone as well. I'm a big fan of the Princetons. I think they're great, but again, I'm not sure what the Tone King Gremlin is rated at watts-wise, but if you're going to be using a power attenuator, then you can probably get by with either. I know I like Fender tones far better than I like many other amps tones, but again, I haven't played that one, so you got to weigh up whether or not the Tone King is going to be appropriate at lower volumes too. Also consider size, like when it comes to amps, physical size can make a huge difference to how loud and how big that is. Let me look up the Tone King Gremlin, because it's not an amp I'm familiar with at all. I've just got it on screen here. Hang on one sec. Okay, so it's 5 watts. All right, so my instinct is that the Tone King will probably be a nicer practice amp at home. 5 watts or less is what you want. 5 watts is still pretty loud, right? But if you can drop that down to like 2 watts via a power attenuator or something like that, then you'll be in business. I think what I'm looking at now with this amp, it looks like a really good amp in terms of its build quality and stuff, but it only has tone and volume. So it doesn't have reverb and like a 2-band EQ, which would be a deal breaker for me. I'd much prefer if I was buying this, I would take the Princeton over this amp just based on its setup. Especially if you're using a power attenuator, then you're always better to get one that's a bit louder, because you can turn it up and take it out and jam with it if you so choose. So if I had to pick, I would go with the Fender Princeton over this, just based on I think the Tone King's lack of features. Some people like really simple amps with no reverb. If you're one of those guys, go for it. I hope that helps, mate. Sorry, being that I haven't tried this amp before, I can't really tell you, but it looks like it has. It's got an attenuator built in. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So, yeah, I mean, you could always get an attenuator for the Princeton. There's ones that will work with it. So, yeah, tough choice. Thanks, mate. I hope at least that gives you something to think about anyway. Buzz Wilson, thank you, mate. Greetings, Shane. Just catching this. Have you ever found a HH Strat that you liked, mostly in position forward, the middle, and split bridge? So the only one that I've liked, there's 2 guitars that I like in that configuration, the Squier Classic Vibe 70s and the Vola Oz MF, which is made in Japan. But it's a different sound, right? Like, I think you're pretty much buying a humbucker in the bridge to get the humbucker tone with drive and gain, and and have that flexibility of a pickup that totally sounds different to single coils, right? So that's kind of how I would look at buying one of those, more so than looking for that great in-between position, because if you want that, you probably will be more happy with a straight-up Stratocaster. But there are some that sound great, in particular the ones that I just mentioned. So as a lefty, Fender don't make any that I've tried. I've never seen one. So yeah, I've tried Tom Anderson guitars. I've tried Sir guitars with that configuration, and they're pretty good too. The Tom Anderson guitars are fantastic, but yeah, the 2 that are most memorable are the Vola Oz 22 and the Squier Classic Vibe 70s. But again, just switch it all the way down to the bridge humbucker and rock out. Thanks again for the support, mate. I appreciate it. Far out. Oh, man. All right. Jamal, what are you doing, mate? Thank you. Pepsi Max Fund. Have you had a chance to try the Fender 68 Pro Reverb yet? No, I still haven't seen one locally, mate. I do know one shop now that's got them. I just found them online before, but it's not somewhere I can borrow stuff from, unfortunately. So, well, I haven't asked, but I'm pretty sure they won't let me borrow it. But yeah, as soon as I can borrow one of those or use one, at the shop or whatever, I'm definitely going to be trying one out. I can't wait to try one out, actually. So, I'll tell you what, as soon as I get that video, that amp in my hands, I'll text you, mate, because I haven't had that opportunity yet, unfortunately. And thanks again, mate. All right, I'll just get a quick drink here. Is it Kias says, I just bought a MIDI Commander Mellow Audio today. I lose signal with Ableton. So those MIDI devices, there's a way to program them for certain other devices, right? So I don't use Ableton. I've never used it. I don't know what its sort of configuration setup is, and yeah, I don't really know anything about it. So see if you can find any information on the best setup for that pedal with that, because there's a lot of presets for what it will work with as well. So yeah, I'm sorry, mate. I don't really have any answers for why it doesn't work, but usually any MIDI hardware can be programmed to work with whatever it is you're plugging it into. You play guitars lefty and use a mouse righty. I do. Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Like, it's just like playing guitar right-handed if you're a lefty. It's what you start with, and I started right-handed, and I much prefer using my right hand. But the one thing I struggle with is drawing with it. I'm left-handed, so I prefer to draw with a pen. I don't have like fine motor skills with that hand when it comes to moving the mouse, but yeah, it's natural for me now. It's just years of practice. Let me just scroll back up. I've got Alan M. Guitar Corner here. Says, by the way, hello everyone, lurking while working. Thanks, mate. Appreciate you joining in. Do you have a favorite Jack Burton quote? Something to send your way. Whoa, man. I mean, look, it's all in the reflexes is pretty much the standard. I love the CB radio montage at the start. You know, I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. That whole speech is fantastic. You know, I love that show, mate. That movie is just, yeah. I'm trying to think of that. That would probably be the most memorable one, and probably the most well known as well. Aquamoon says, honestly, being a left-handed player isn't that bad. Mostly I just get heckled for it being backwards, but it's 2021. People are just accepting we exist. Yeah, exactly. Jay says, cheers, mate. We get alive on a weekday. Apologies for being late, but I'm here. No worries, man. Thanks for joining in. NJ says, yeah, the Zach Wild from MXR is really good. Overdrive based on the Boss SD1. Oh, very cool. What are my thoughts on NUX pedals, especially the NUX Atlantic Reverb delay combo? You know, I don't know if I know that one off the top of my head. Let's have a look. Generally speaking, they make some good stuff. They're affordable as well. Oh, yeah, I have seen these before. Yeah, this is one pedal I haven't actually used. I do have a NUX video coming up of like one of their integrated multi-effects pedals, which is kind of like their new one. And I've reviewed a lot of the NUX stuff, and I think it's pretty solid. You know, given the price, these are more expensive. These sort of Atlantic ones, they're like almost $200 here in Australia. Yeah, I haven't actually looked at this one before, so I can't give you an opinion on it. But the ones I have tried, I think are really good. Given that most of them were, I don't know, what, like $40, $50, somewhere around there. eBay or Guitar Center? Oh, is that to someone? Okay, cool. Boris says, yeah, the sound is amazing on your keys to the Guitar Shop videos. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I try to get the sound's the most important thing, more than it is about anything else with, I think, a guitar channel. So if you don't have good audio quality, it's hard to watch, especially if it's a bit of a longer video too. Lots of small custom builders have no trouble making lefties with no upcharge. Well, that's how it should be. There shouldn't be an additional fee for it. It doesn't make any sense. Jack Lowe, you're welcome, mate. So I got the little crow back here, actually, but someone's just mentioned that. I've got it plugged in too. I haven't played this for a while, but we'll see if we can get some tones through my playing through one of those little Hornet amps from Moore, those little cube things. They're pretty cool. It's on the floor just here. Hopefully you can see that. The little crow Kiesel. Yeah, Kiesel was another brand I really didn't have any expectations for. Like, I knew they existed, but I always thought they were just straight up metal guitars. But yeah, knowing that they can kind of do custom instruments was really cool. And I was honored they wanted to send one out, you know, like it wasn't a brand I'd ever spoken with or to before, but it seems like they want to try and at least diversify into, I guess, maybe other parts of the guitar audience instead of just being like the metal guys. It's kind of cool. Scroll down here. Love the look of that little crow. Thanks, man. If you want good audio, get a good interface like Focusrite or Roland. Yeah, you know what? Interestingly enough, I did an A/B comparison between 5 different sound cards, and I couldn't hear any difference. I think in today's day and age, they're all pretty similar to each other. Sure, you're going to get some that are junk, but yeah, it's pretty tough to buy a dud if you're buying something with XLR inputs. There's going to be some differences in the gain and how loud you can turn it before you get noise, but unless you're running Shure SM7Bs or Rode Procasters, it's not going to really make a huge difference, especially with condenser microphones. Like, I don't use anything flash. I know some guys have $10,000 sound cards. I've got like a $150 Steinberg. So yeah, it works for what I'm doing. Works fine. Got a scoot. Thanks, Poo Ninja. Thanks for hanging out, mate. I appreciate that. We're going to wrap this up in probably the next few minutes. My eyes are getting sore, actually. It's kind of getting hot in here now. Behringer interfaces are good. I totally agree. You know, like I tested a UMC 22, the UR22 Mark II from Steinberg. I tested against the Zoom, and I tested against the was it M Audio? Yeah, there was no difference. Other than the interface of it, it was very, very similar. Hey, we've got Drew's Drum Tracks here. Welcome, man. See you Friday. I can't wait. So Drew's going to be on the next live session, which will be awesome. So we'll have to play some metal for you, man. I know you love that stuff. So yeah, I'm only joking, Drew. I can't play metal to save myself, but let's do it, mate. It's going to be good. I'll meet you there. We'll rock out. It'll be awesome. So yeah, thanks again. Ah, man, stop spamming, Jake. See ya. All right. Dan of NJ says, I'm right-handed and I use my left hand for the mouse. You know, I know a couple of people that do that, actually. They use the opposite hand. P.S. Love the Little Crow guitars. Yeah, this thing's super cool. Made in Australia. I think the amp is set to like a Marshall sort of thing. I would say that's probably right. Anyway, I'll put it down. All right. Boss are built like tanks. Yeah, totally. I agree. Boss pedals, they got them right. All right, cool. Yep. Did my chat freeze here? Sorry, give me 1 sec. Oh no. Is it all right? Let's see if it froze. Up. All right, sorry guys. I think the browser window froze that the stream was connected to. So hopefully it's all right. Sorry if it just looked like I was in limbo for a bit. Yeah, it definitely froze. I want the 8-channel one so I can record jams and gigs on my laptop and remix it later. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it. Another way you can do it is buy an all-in-one recorder. You know, there's a number of different ones of those that work really well. It saves having to bring a laptop, especially if you've got one with a non-solid-state hard drive. It means every bass note is going to make your old mechanical drive stutter and glitch, and you'll lose all your recordings. So make sure your laptop's got a solid-state drive so the shaking won't cause a problem. There's certain frequencies that trigger hard drives into spasms, like literally. It just goes crazy. So, is there a limit to how much you would spend on a pedal? Asking because I've seen those Boss tone bender pedals turning up on Instagram. It just depends on, like, I don't know if... Yeah, look, I would have a hard time spending over a certain amount of money on a pedal. I'm in a different position, man, because I'm fortunate enough now that I've got pretty much everything I want. I get to test a lot of stuff that gets sent in, right? So the value of it's different. If I was only gigging instead of making videos about gear, it would be different again, right? So yeah, it's hard for me to really answer that. But if I want to, if say for example, I lost my Royal Flush, I would have no hesitations buying another one now that I know I love it, right? But I think the most amount of money I spent on a pedal that I can recall is probably the Klon. I bought a Klon KTR many years ago, and I know they've gone up in price to some crazy amount, but I didn't pay that amount for them, so yeah. All right. Just dropped in and you're about to pop off. Whoever invented time zones. Yeah, next live stream I'll do it at the other end of the day to keep it fair. Thank you, Sonia. Thanks for taking care of that. My old DS1 has so many chips on the paint all over it. Still works fine though. Yeah, totally. There's nothing wrong with those. Another great pedal is the Boss SD OD3. One of my favorite overdrives of all time. That thing is... That's almost all you'd need to do almost everything with it. It's great with lead stuff, and it's killer for rhythm guitar parts as well. Really cool stuff. Gear Junkie says, tasty licks, bro. You've only gotten better over the years. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, sometimes you get stuck and I'm not working as much at it as I should. But again, you know, I'm kind of stubborn, so I end up playing the parts as often as I will need to, you know, on any given day to kind of get the best take. And sometimes they're okay at the end, and other times they're not great. But what I found recently is that the more I'm recording, the easier, like making a video or whatever, the easier the whole process becomes, because I'm playing more and I know exactly what I'm trying to do, and the confidence is up. So yeah, it is all about confidence. And for me especially, like, I have to keep playing at least once a week to some extent. Otherwise, my chops go the other way. Or the fluidity, I guess. But thank you, mate. About to order a new speaker for the DSL-40. Do you use the Texas Heat? I do. And what that speaker will do is knock out some of the top end that the amp inherently has a little too much of, in my opinion. It means you can kind of run the amplifier like you would expect to, with the treble somewhere other than all the way off. So yeah, I love that combination. I've tried the Tonka in there, which was okay, but made the amp way too heavy as well. The Texas Heat, yeah, it's never coming out of that amp. Fat Philosopher says, which do you feel is more reliable, a tuning pedal or a headstock tuner? Tuning pedal. 100%. Just if you've got it with a power supply or whatever, you're good to go. You know, I'm nothing against headstock tuners. I've got a few here that I really like, but yeah, if I'm at a gig, I'm taking a pedal tuner. It also mutes my signal really quickly. It's easier to see. It's just, I can't live without them. I actually paid for the, believe it or not, I know no one believes me, but I actually paid for a pedal recently, and I still do buy stuff, just not as often as I did when it comes to pedals. But there you go. That's my other board. I've got a Boss TU3 on here now. My old board, which is the other main one I've got, has the TU2, which I've had for like 10 years. They're bulletproof. Again, Boss. They get them right. The gold or white royal flush, man. Whew, doesn't matter. Look, if you can get a limited edition one, go for it. But the white ones are cool too. That's, I haven't got my gold one planted on the board yet. I need to do that. Kane says, waiting on the tally to arrive. Does constantly hitting refresh on track and trace actually make it arrive sooner? Good question about that, mate. I'm like that when I order stuff online. I'm like, oh, is it, where is it? So, yeah, I hope you enjoy your new Telecaster, mate. That's awesome. I'm kind of torn between getting the OD3 and the Blues Driver 2. That's from Nicolo. I much prefer the OD3. I think it's a far better pedal, especially if you're playing live. But a lot of people love the Blues Driver. I just find them a little too scooped, and they're better as a boost pedal, in my opinion. But you know what opinions are like. Everyone's got one, right? So I'm not saying I'm right. It's just my experience. I haven't played both. There's something gnarly about the OD3. It's like, it does off clean great, but it can also go much higher gain than the Blues Driver. The good thing about it though, right? Like, if you don't like it, you'll be able to sell it easy. There's still, people will buy them. Juna pedal. That's funny. Subtitles are on. Any thoughts on small box pedal? I'm not sure what you mean, Josh. Are you talking about like when the enclosures are smaller? Is that what you mean, or is that a brand? I'm not too sure. Small pedals are fine as long as there's not too many controls on them. 3 is about all you can really fit on there easily, unless you start getting those really small potentiometers that are tiny. And then you can kind of get away with 5 in that situation. But yeah. Brett Laubach says, I got an Al Macambo running into a soul food. Very cool, mate. I bought one of those pedals, the Al Macambo, is however you say it. Great overdrive. I didn't need it, right? The day I bought my Strat, or just right after that, I was like, I can't remember if I had my Strat with me or I picked it up that day, but I ended up buying a Al Macambo like before they changed the name on them. I didn't know that was going to be a thing, but yeah, great overdrive. Like, that's definitely up there on my list of all-time favorites, given its price point anyway. Have you ever built a guitar? No, not personally, no. OD3 all the way, so versatile and sounds amazing. That's from Sloboda. So yeah, there's another guy who loves the OD3. If you've had a chance to use both, in the comments, let me know what you think between the Boss Blues Driver and the OD3. I think the Boss Blues Driver looks a little cooler, but I don't think it's anywhere near as versatile. And I'm a blues guy. I just don't hear it as that much of a bluesy pedal, to be honest. It sounds good as a boost into something else. Built a few. Last one was a Knotty Pine Telecaster. Very cool. If you only had to get one delay pedal, which would you pick? There's a few I really like. Maxon make a really great one. The AD 999 is something that I use on my pedal board. I can't really pick one because I like different types of delay. Another really great one, I mentioned this earlier, is this. This is the Crazy Tube Circuits time delay. This is really good. There's another one from Citek, which was made in, I think they're made in Poland now. They were made in Ireland before that. Called the the Serena delay pedal. Sorry, that's really good. I've tried lots, man. It just depends on what you really want. I can't really pick one. This would be close to the top of my list, just based on what I know about it so far. Or I'd pick just a straight up analog delay, just any number of great like Maxon pedals or whatever. Yeah, I'm a big fan of both tape, analog, and also digital. So it's hard for me to pick, but yeah, that one's really good. Bought a Morning Glory the day my Deluxe Reverb died. But it was glorious for the 10 minutes I played it. Yeah, they're the good pedals. I think I reviewed one of them years ago, or I got a chance to test one. I kind of lose track of all the videos. NJ says, I did a direct shootout of the OD3 and Blues Driver 2, and the preference was the BD2, but I do like more gain. The Waza BD2 is a different beast. Yeah, I think I did a comparison between a couple of Waza Craft pedals and their standard ones. Yeah, there's a slight difference in the tone. It's kind of like, yeah, I wonder how different they are when you got like drums and bass around you. That would be an interesting test. I got a Boss Katana, so I don't really buy Boss pedals. Yeah, that makes sense. Nicolo says, I'm into small pedals. I just have a huge, chunky, big toe that I like adjusting knobs with. Okay, cool. What's your thoughts on Walrus audio pedals? You know what? I don't know if I've really tested too many of them, to be honest. I don't know if I've had got any of them on the channel. Oh, okay. I have tested one of their pedals before. Was it a reverb, maybe? No. Maybe it was a delay. Maybe not. You know what? Maybe I haven't tested them. Sorry. They just look familiar. Yeah. So, sorry. Can't help you. All right. I'll take a couple more questions here and then we'll wrap it up. Matthias asks, what's the best chorus pedal for blues rock in your opinion? Greetings from Hamburg, Germany. So chorus pedals for me aren't really like a blues pedal. You'd want to go for more of a vibratone pedal. Or a trem. I don't think chorus is really very well suited to blues. Now, if you're playing 80s rock, yeah, absolutely. There's, you can get a clean tone and layer up some chorus. But chorus is an effect I hardly ever use. My favorite effect for getting like really great musical kind of comping parts is the vibler. That thing sounds great. Or any other number of sort of vibratone style pedals, or you can go for a chorus too. There's plenty of great chorus pedals. One of the best ones I've tried recently was from Jam Pedals, which is kind of expensive, but it's got like a chorus on top of a trem, or more like a phaser on top of a tremolo, and that's got that musical kind of comping sound as well. But yeah, the vibler is kind of like the pedal I choose for more of a blues sound. If you're going to go for a chorus, you can, there's so many you can choose from. Even the Boss ones are good, right? So, I would say if you're going to go for a tremolo pedal, for example, I know that's not on your list, but stay away from the Boss ones, right? Because they kind of go under your signal. So if your volume's here, a good tremolo pedal should kind of like, the wave should go above and below the volume of the amp. Boss ones kind of do this. It sounds like you're losing volume. Not maybe all of them are like that, but the ones I've tested, that's my biggest criticism of them. I tested one called the Memphis, which has a volume control on it, so you can make it louder than your Unity signal. So try to find one with a volume control. It makes a huge difference. Have I tried the PRS S2 McCarty thin line? I haven't, no. I followed a bit of gear I ordered from the States. Went on a 5-day tour before catching a plane to the UK. Then it went on a 3-day tour before arriving in Scotland. Okay, cool. So, you're saying your gear went on... Oh, man. Okay, so far out. Hopefully it's all there and safe. Thoughts on the Fender Pro Junior? Surprisingly great. You know, I kind of dismissed them as not being loud enough for a lot of years because I've tried them at the house and they're loud, but they're not something I thought was going to sound good in context to a band, but they sound really good. And you can mic them up. The only limitation to them is, again, if you want reverb, don't have it. But surprisingly great. You know, one of the keys to the Guitar Shop series, we played those amps and they sounded fantastic in the room. So David Dare says, I just bought an Ibanez AZ Tri-Burst right-handed version of the similar guitar you tried out. How good is that guitar? One of the best guitars I've played. It was as good to play as the PRS SE, but you know, it was sort of nicer. But they're expensive, but they're beautiful. Stainless steel frets, some of the best humbuckers I've ever played, and it felt good to play. The case was great. Everything about that was good. So, yeah, congrats. I would love one of those, but I would love to spend $500 less than actually they sell for. But I haven't had any luck with that yet. Have I tested the Jam Pedals Ripley 4 pedal? You know, I've got one of those here, but I haven't tried it. So, not yet. There's a few pedal videos coming up. I got like one a week kind of scheduled on either the start of the week or, yeah, something like that anyway. So it'll come up at some point. I do have one. I think Rick's got it at the moment. I might have lent him that, but I haven't tried it yet, no. Yeah, Jam pedals were nice enough to send out like 4 of their pedals, which was cool. And I've just scheduled them up over 2 months, so... I'll take a couple more and we'll get out of here. Yeah, someone was saying they bought a... Sorry, I can't find the person who wrote it, but it scrolled up. But yeah, the trio pedals are pretty cool. Carbon copy with modulation gives a chorus effect. Yeah, it does. Yeah, with delay, absolutely. So that's kind of like some people consider like a tape delay effect. It's giving you that warble. You put too much chorus on anything, you sound out of tune and everyone gets seasick. So you kind of got to watch the amount of it, or the depth, I should say. Show us your favorite guitar. All right, I can do that. All right, we'll do that. Anyone tried the Squier Classic Vibe 70s thin line? I haven't tried that, but if anyone has, yeah, let him know. All right, I'll grab a guitar. Just give me a sec. Gotta move some crap out of the way here. Oh, my favorite guitar, huh? I don't know if I'm going to grab my favorite, but I'll grab... These are almost all of my favorites now, so it's kind of hard to pick. Good position to be in. This is definitely in my top couple. Every time I play this on a video now, everybody comments on this. Oh, the Flying V sounds great. Yeah, so Gibson Flying V, right up there as one of my favorites. It's, yeah, the guitar. I'm gonna have this thing for a long time. It's great. Played perfectly straight off the wall. I think I adjusted the action a hair when I changed strings. Just brought it up a hair, and that's it. So yeah, the Gibson Flying V. It's light. The burst bucket pickups sound amazing. So hopefully you can hear me all right. It's nice and simple. We get 2 tone controls, 2 volume controls, and 1 tone control. And yeah, so it's great, man. What a guitar. I'm wrapped. I got this. As soon as I got a text message saying that Sky Music had a Flying V, and I was like, uh-oh. Said, put it aside, I'm coming in. And Aaron, he had a good day that day because it took me about 5 minutes to realise I'm going home with that guitar. Mine's 2015, very cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Albert King, right, which is here, and Michael Burks as well, who's another great Flying V player. There's heaps of guys that have played Flying Vs, but they're the two that inspired me the most. Like, Albert King is just a monster, or, you know, he was a monster player. But yeah, it just sounds good. It's got it all. It does everything. It's light. It's well balanced. The only thing it doesn't do well is, you know, you can't sit and play it that easily. Some people can. They can banjo it, but I'm not a big fan of that. V or Explorer. I much prefer a Flying V. Yeah, Explorers are great. Like, they're essentially the same guitar, right? But the way they feel, it's kind of strange. It's like your arm can't sit anywhere on an Explorer, and there's nowhere for it to really sit on a V, but it feels more comfortable not really having like two diagonal lines coming up. I don't know, it's just, I find that much more playable, except for sitting down, where the Explorer is slightly better. And the case for the Flying V is smaller too. If you've ever seen a case for a Gibson Explorer or an Epiphone one or whatever, they're so big. Like, it's a deal breaker for me. I couldn't even probably fit an Explorer case in my car. Have I ever played Firebirds? No, not personally. I may have played one. Hang on. Let me have a look. I could be wrong. Maybe it was an Explorer. I have. I played one. It's a Epiphone Firebird. I played it at Jerry's Lefty Guitars a number of years ago, so that video is still up. Yeah, I can't. You know what? It's been so long. I can't remember. I can't remember what I thought of it, to be honest. So, yeah, I would have to go back and sort of rewatch that now. But I think from memory, it played pretty well. I think it had really rusty strings though, which was, you know, it kind of ruined the playing experience a little bit. It's so humid there that's what happens. Yeah, the V stands as if sober. Yeah, it does. It's pretty cool. Like, yeah, it definitely can stand up against your amp. You don't need a stand for it at all. It doesn't fit really in any stand other than the ones that clip up over here. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll play some Albert King licks here. All right, we got delay. We got the Marshall tone going on. Let's see what we got. See, I can't really play seated with it like banjo style, but I'll try. Ooh, it's easy to play. It's bridge pickup. I can't really play note for note Albert that well anymore. I used to try to do that, but yeah, there's a couple of Albert licks I love. You know, there's the one where he bends down from a note. That's one of my favorites. So he'll go like, then he'll go, yeah, that yeah, that's one of my favorite things that Albert does, you know, super cool. Do you want to try Stereotone High Watt? You know, thanks, man, but nah, look, I'm not. I don't usually like borrowing stuff off folks I don't really know. It's sort of, yeah, I've had a bad experience with that once before, so thank you. I play this all night. This is awesome. What's my favorite Fender amp for those clean bluesy tones, no pedals? Probably a Supersonic 60. They're kind of discontinued now, which is a bit of a bummer, but yeah, it's a pedal-free platform that is pretty tough to beat. It really is. And they're built well too. Boris says that little amp on the floor. Yeah, it's just down here. You can see it. There it is. Just there. I've got it on 10 o'clock on the volume, so it's got plenty left. There you go. Yeah. Albert stuff's kind of fun. I'm not great at it, but yeah, I try not to do too much. Like this guitar, you inherently want to do a bit of that Albert King thing, but I try not to. I try not to treat it like a guitar that makes me want to play Albert King stuff. So I just try to do my normal 3 licks on it. All right, well, we might wrap this up. Yeah, thanks for everybody for joining in. I appreciate it. If I missed your question, I apologize. There's too many. Sometimes when the chat scrolls after all the comments, I miss stuff. So I'll take this one. Doug says, my DSL 40CR cuts out on high notes at loud volume, not tubes or bias. I would get that looked at, man. Yeah, I don't know what that could be, other than maybe it could be that the speaker's faulty or something, possibly. Maybe there's some sort of protection circuit in there cutting it out. I've gigged with mine like out loud so many times and never had a problem with it. So yeah, that's not a problem I've come across. I mean, usually if something's cutting out when it's loud, I would go through everything. See if anything in your signal chain's also causing you problems too. You'd be surprised what a weird cable can do when you least expect it, or something like that. Even a pot on a guitar can be problematic. I've just gone through replacing some of mine. So, yeah, you never can rule all that stuff out. Just try to replicate it, and if you've got it under warranty or whatever, take it in, get it looked at, or try to get it on camera when it's not, doing it, or film it with your phone if you can replicate it, just to, give a tech sort of some heads up on what it could be, All right, guys, take it easy. I appreciate it. I'll try and timestamp some of this tomorrow. Yeah, no way I'm going to do that tonight, especially when they go for over 2 hours. But yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody for supporting the channel. Thanks for all the super chat guys and for hanging out. Last question here. Am I from Sydney? No, I'm from Melbourne, actually. I was in Sydney recently, but I don't know what the blues scene is like in Sydney compared to here. I know there's a lot of blues in Melbourne, but, this is a quality thing, and you've got to take into consideration. Sometimes quantity isn't always a good thing. All right, guys. Thank you to the moderators as well. Sonia, John, appreciate it. And Jamal, if I missed anyone here that is modding, I apologize. I'm just scrolling through here. Thanks for all the questions. Hopefully it was helpful. Thumbs up if you can on the way out, if you haven't already, if I answered the question, or if you enjoyed it. And if not, all good. I will catch you on the next one. Buzz, thank you again for all the support. Aquamoon, everybody, thank you. And I'll catch you, probably try and do one at the opposite end of the day next time. So in a week or a week and a half or something like that, I'll do another live stream coming up. There's more videos coming up. I've got a lot scheduled right now. I worked pretty hard to get all the way into August scheduled, so you'll see a good mix of stuff. I got to finish some Guitar Suit Saturdays. I don't know if I'll have it ready by Saturday, so it'll be the following week, but There's 2 more of them coming up in editing as well. They're super cool. All right, everybody, take care, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.